Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, this will be a little bit of a longer video, as you can see by the time date stamp down there. But Donald Trump has just been hit for $90 million in settlements, defamation and such with E.G. and Carroll. Almost, starting to sniff around $100 million. Especially if he appeals it, he's going to have to put up about $100 million. Additionally, Judge Engoron in the next few days, it's February 1st here, is going to be ruling on what the fines are going to be for the disgorgement of Donald Trump for the New York civil fraud case. And that's expected to be, as the King of Wands shows up, hundreds of millions of dollars. And likely Trump will lose his business licenses in New York, and a lot of liquidation is going to have to happen, so on and so forth. And then there's the $50 million tax fraud that was uncovered by retired Judge Barbara Jones, who was acting as a court-appointed overseer or point of contact between the courts and Trump org to make sure they're not moving money around. So all sorts of fun stuff. Now, the question here is, what are the Trump kids thinking as they watch their insane, incontinent father basically hemorrhage all the family fortune right in front of them for like the 6th time in this guy's lifetime? So, well, let's find. I mean, maybe if you were counting on your $100 millions from that one, I got news for you. They ain't gonna be around. So, what's the energy? The energy around the Trump kids watching their father implode, and the family business and the family fortune seem to be spiraling down the toilet. Entertainment purposes only. What's the energy around this? Yep. We're going to go from wealthy to poor. They are worried that there's going to be nothing left for them, or it's going to be a pittance. Dad had hundreds of millions of dollars, and we're going to get thousands. Going to be a magnitude off here. Strength card is the cross. They don't have an ability to stop him. They might be trying. Alina Rodriguez was having fun with this one about them, committing him to a mental health museum or something like that. Was it Lena? I forget who it was. And just like, oh yeah, well, Dad, can you sign this? Sign my inheritance before we commit you, type of thing. But there's a strength card here. They're not in a strong position. They can't stop what's happening. They're in a weak position here. And underneath it all is the magician. Their dad's lies, his illusions, are catching up to him. And everything that's causing the family fortune to die is his fault. He's done it to himself. And, if they are going to have any money left, they have to come up with a scheme or a plot to undo their father. But right now, I don't see them being able to do that, because that would require them working together on this, and I don't think they've got the ability to do it. Me personally. In the past, we got the Queen of Swords. This is just, this is Dad, quote unquote Dad. This is what he's got coming to him. You play with fire, you're gonna get burned. What did their father think was going to happen? But I think it's also just the reality that there's not much they can do, because he holds all the purse strings. All the money's in his name, so he gets to call the shots. Not exactly the warm, loving type. Current situation: the Seven of Wands fighting. Again, this is Trump trying to fight off all these different court cases. And the lawyers cost a lot of money. Now, the settlements are a lot of money, but the lawyers are a lot of money too. And, he keeps getting himself into trouble, and his fights never stop. And he's hemorrhaging cash as a consequence of that. The overarching energy is the family wealth. The family business is on the line, and the way things are looking, there isn't going to be a family business. There isn't going to be any family wealth left. They're going to be impoverished because their father didn't have the strength to keep his mouth shut with these defamation cases, and he cheated the tax man on top of it. So the tax man is coming. The judicial system has arrived, and as much as he fights, all he's doing is not delaying the inevitable, but he's force multiplying the inevitable. His behavior is such that, that second defamation trial about E. Jean Carroll probably shouldn't have been $80-something million. First off, he should have just kept his big mouth shut. But his constant tweeting and badgering absolutely upped the punitive damages. So he's doing it to himself. There's not going to be any family fortune left here. There you go. The lesson to be learned is Dad is done. He's going to hemorrhage all the cash. All the cash is gone. The businesses are gone. The government's taking everything. And when the government's done taking their share, then you get the E. Jean Carrolls of the world going after their share. Now, I realize Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss are not part of the Trump defamation case, but it's that same sort of thing. After the government's done with Ruby and Shay get their bit, and E. Jean Carroll's going to get her bit. There's going to be nothing left for these spawn, Donald Trump's oldest spawn. The outcome is the Ace of Pentacles. Now, normally this would be a big money push, but it's fool's gold. There's nothing left. Donald Trump has taken all the money that was given to him as inheritance, and he has used every last penny of it in this lifetime. Not only the money his father gave him, but all the money laundering, all the grifting, all of that. It's always been Donald's money. It's nobody else's money but Donald Trump's. And if he ever offers you anything, it is under incredible numbers of conditions that you will pay him back to. So he's got money troubles now. He's going to have money troubles for the rest of his life until he has no money. No money, no troubles. You might be in prison. You might be mentally incompetent. You might be in a mental health facility. But money will not be his concern at that point. That Ace of Pentacles could also be his health. That could be a big health event. When the money's gone, he has his big health event because, well, why not? The question might be, what country is he in when he has that big health event? Okay, so that's the general. Now let's do the individuals. We'll start with Ivanka, because I think she's going to be in the best shape. Mostly because her husband was given a $2 billion hedge fund to manage. He gets 2% of that $2 billion hedge fund as management fees, and probably has, from what I understand, he has incentives if he hits some, investment goals or something like that. So, what's $40 million amongst friends? He's the one person in the Trump household that actually has two nickels to rub together. And they're real nickels, not that fake nickel. Not wooden nickels. Okay. How is Trump's situation affecting Ivanka / Jared? All right, she's making her plans. She's already has plans in place here. Fleeing the country. What are they doing? King of Wands. Because this is going to be more Jared. Because Jared had taken action, again with this hedge fund and other things that have got going on. She seems to be in okay shape. They've kind of planned out for this in the Chariot. So they've already started moving on a life where they're not expecting a whole lot coming from the Trumps. They've got their own life, their own businesses and stuff like that they're working with. They weren't because of Jared Kushner being in the White House in the deals that he made. they've got a different path that they're going down. Yeah, in the past is the Eight of Swords. This was all the Trump kids, but Ivanka. When Donald's holding all the purse strings, you're a hostage to him. And, so how do you get out of that situation? You get your own money in your own business or your own path so that you're not beholden to Donald Trump and his money. Current situation, I think they've got money. They've got their money invested, squirreled away, done whatever they've done with it. But I think they've got a financial plan in place, and financially they seem to be doing okay. Would it be nice to get several $100 million from your father's estate when he passes? Sure, who wouldn't love that? But they're not depending on that. But here's the problem. The illusions and delusions, the lack of integrity. Some of the money that they have, or maybe a lot of the money they have, was not gotten, it's ill-gotten gains. Again, this $2 billion hedge fund sure smacks of a bribe. You know what I mean? And, if Congress is going to look at Hunter Biden for $10 million from China, which the GOP can't really prove, what are they going to do with $2 billion from Saudi Arabia to Jared Kushner? That's going to be under scrutiny pretty soon too. And you can expect there might be some disgorgement coming from that, or charges coming from that. Lesson to be learned is the Queen of Cups. I think also with this one is they understood that Donald Trump's was crazy. He was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, especially with the election denial stuff. And they got out of the White House before the insurrection. They have been very low key in their social media presence and such. If you think about it, Don Jr.'s out there, Eric Trump's out there, blasting away. Ivanka is hiding. She managed to get out of the Trump civil trial, and they are just keeping their heads down because they know it's about to hit the fan in that household. Out comes the Sun card. Some stuff is going to come out probably with regards to, again, absolutely stuff will come out with Jared and his the hedge fund that he's managing. But I think generally speaking, their future is bright, and I'll put bright in air quotes. They are going to suffer the least financially from Trump's hemorrhaging of cash because they had money already, and their money is invested. Kushner and his brother have a bunch of properties, and you got, again, this hedge fund, which I think is going to cause some problems. But I think she's managed to dodge the worst of it. Even if they don't get a dime from the Trump family fortune, she's got enough that she's going to be comfortable for the rest of her life. Don't hate the player, hate the game, right? Okay. What about Don Jr., you ask? Well, that's a good question. How's Don Jr. handling watching his father hemorrhage the family fortune, and how's that going to impact him and his lovely fiancée, Kimberly Guilfoyle? Again, entertainment purposes only. Page of Swords. He's got no skills. Other than being his dad's mouthpiece and trolling people, dude's got no skills. Certainly didn't know how to run a business. Didn't know gaps. Yeah, what's he going to do for a living? Yeah, I suspect that after it's all said and done, the Trumps are going to be persona non grata at Republican functions and probably right-wing news networks. What's there left for this guy to do? Doesn't know what he's doing. Agreements. Yeah, maybe he does. Maybe he gets in a pack or something along those lines. Maybe he moves to Saudi Arabia and hangs out with his buddy MBS. Who knows? Maybe Jared lends him $50. There are some agreements here, though. How is he viewing it? Again, he's going out there sending his dad's message, carrying his dad's water. And there's agreements there. What is this? Is this him and Kimberly? Is this him and other people? Him and right-wing news media? There could be something. He might get like a podcast because of infamy or something like that. There's something. He's got some side hustle that he might have. After I go and say what skills does he have, it looks like he's got some side hustle here that he's going to be going on. Magician underneath it. Yeah, it's like he either, it's one of two things. He thinks his dad's going to pull it out and land on his feet like he always does. But I think what this is telling me is that Donald Trump Jr. comes to agreements with people, and it helps him launch himself into something different. Again, I could picture him having podcasts and stuff like that, and just out there putting out extreme right-wing talking points. Well, let's see where this goes. The Hermit. The truth is being exposed. So we've had the court cases come through. You got to see Donald throw people under the bus. I think Don Jr. understands that things are not looking good for Trump Org and the family fortune. And it's time, he might have been looking for a while here. That it's all smoke. Basically, Trump Org is smoke and mirrors. Current situation, Five of Swords. His dad's got to win this case. He's got to win the presidency. If his dad wins the presidency, then everything still works out at Trump Org, and his dad has manifested and landed on his feet again. But everything rides on him being the president. So this could be Don Jr. going out stumping for his dad because he knows that without Trump landing the presidency, there's no money left in the family. It's gone. The government will take it all. Nine of Cups. Yeah. Okay. And I think it's parallels. If he can get his dad elected, that helps. If he can't get his dad elected, he's trying to make connections with news agencies, podcasts, people that are connected that can help him out. Because, and to me, it's going to be far right-wing stuff. It's going to be extremism type stuff. Because that's where he's going to be embraced. That's where they know him on that. And they will take him in as one of their own. And pretty soon he'll be as wealthy as one of their own. Lesson to be learned from the overarching energy is the Four of Coins. Junior is... I'm getting the feeling he might be a little bit strapped for cash. Or he's trying to find a way to protect assets that he has so that the government can't seize anything that he owns that the government's going to come for. He's trying to protect what he has. And maybe that's what this card is also. This could be him working with lawyers trying to figure out a way for him to protect what he has. But the outcome is the Two of Coins. He's gonna lose a lot of money in this one. And his dad's certainly not going to be holding on to his money. Yeah, this is kind of a big learning lesson for Junior on the values of money and things along those lines. He's going to go from being rather wealthy to not having much money at all. He's not going to be destitute. You're not going to see him with none of these, none of the Trump spawn. You're not going to see him, advertised coming to a trailer park near you. They're not. It's not going to be that type of impoverished, but it's definitely not going to be the lifestyle that they're used to. Think of Donald Trump Jr. as being like kind of like a rather unpopular Ben Shapiro, I suppose. I don't know, but he would go that route. Try and get his own podcast going in a Ben Shapiro type manner, and he'll have his people because he's Donald Trump Jr. and Dad will be in a wheelchair in a military mental health hospital somewhere, drooling into a Dixie cup. It'll be up to Junior to try and salvage his dad's reputation. All right, Eric Trump. We got the Empress just popped up there. Maybe he's gonna rely on Lara Trump to keep him afloat. Maybe Eric gets a sex change operation. Becomes Erica Trump. Or something. Did I happen to say this for entertainment purposes only? I don't know what the gender change card here is, but if he does, we'll find it. How's Eric Trump looking at the energy around his father's flailing court cases and how it impacts him going forward? Heartbreak and betrayal. Yeah, I wonder why, Eric. Guess who he keeps trying to throw under the bus? What it should be is how his father tried to throw him under the bus, how his siblings, helped speed up this process. But I think he's looking at American society or especially the Justice Department and the police and such as the betrayers of his father. Yeah, he's all emotions. Look at all these emotions in here. There's a betrayal for the happy family and the walking away. I think we know that Donald Trump's going to blame Eric. He's going to blame Eric. Everything in the business was fine until Eric was in charge there, and it's Eric's fault that everything went wrong. He's going to blame somebody. He's not going to blame himself, and likely won't blame Alan Weisselberg because Weisselberg went to prison for Donald. So who does that leave? It leaves his sons. Because he's not going to throw Ivanka under the bus. So Eric and Don Jr. and Eric get tossed under the bus here. But I think then Eric doesn't know what to do with that. So he then blames the media because it's the media's fault that his dad's upset with him and caused his dad to flee the country or something along those lines. Eric may also leave the media for a while. He may... after this is all said and done, I suspect he's going to take a lower public profile, shall we say. Don Jr. won't. Don Jr., I think, is going to maintain a big profile. Ivanka's left the public profile. Eric and Don Jr. have maintained it. I think Don Jr. is going to lean into it. Eric is going to walk away from it. In the past, how is he looking at the world, things coming to an end? A lot of the investments came from Russia, right? You guys, the two Spawn said that all their money came from Russia, and that money's dried up. And the business is over. The Trump era is over at this point, and it's time to move on. Look at these major arcana coming in here. It's time to move on from the Trump era because there's just nothing here. There's no money left. And he's been blamed for it, and he wants to find somebody else to blame because, again, he doesn't know what to do with it. He'll blame the media, of course. But you have to look at your relationships. Just like we had the Five of Swords over there for was it Junior that had that? It's the narcissism card. Your father did this to himself, and you and Junior chained yourself to your father. Your whole involvement in Trump Org, it was a family business, and your dad called all the shots. He's blaming you, but he's the one who called all the shots. Can Eric Trump process this? It's going to be hard for him. This is going to be an emotionally really challenging time for Eric Trump. Queen of Swords. His wife might be helpful to him in this regard. He has to learn to lay blame, not so much blame, lay responsibility where it belongs. Going back to this card and this, Donald Trump is going to blame Eric for it. He just is, and Don Jr. too, and Alan Weisselberg, and anybody else he can blame for it. And these are no sons of mine type of thing. Eric's world is over because that's his dad, and now he's got to pick up the pieces and move on. But then what he needs to do is he needs to look at that relationship that he had with his father and what his father controlled and what Eric did or did not control, and just understand his father was responsible for what happened. Everything that happens to his dad was his dad's actions and the consequences of his actions. The outcome is the magician. Well, that really depends on what Eric does with this. If he can make the connection that his father is toxic, again, look at all these major arcana. So Donald Trump losing the family business and blaming his son, this is like an Eric Trump big life lesson moment. Do you reinvent yourself? Do you look at your relationship with your father and understand the illusions that were with it? Or do you take this situation and create something new and different with it? If Lara Trump helps him process his father and his consequences and not blame the media for it, Eric Trump might be able to do something. Spiritually, I think he will have learned his lesson in this. But again, I think Eric Trump is, once this is all said and done, Eric Trump is going to be out of the public spotlight and not really wanting the public spotlight. That doesn't mean that Lara Trump won't be in the public spotlight, but he's not going to have his own podcast and do the talk show circuits and write books. And that, I mean, he might write a book, but expect he's going to be introverted relative. His brother would be the extroverted way of dealing with it. Eric Trump's might be a more introverted way of doing it. Okay. Those are the only 3 Spawn I'm going to read on. I'm not reading on the Marla Maples Spawn, and I'm not reading on the Melania. I won't refer to... maybe it may not be fair to refer to Tiffany's Spawn. I won't be reading on Tiffany. I won't be reading on Barry. What will the Trump adult Spawn relationship be like when this is all said and done? Will they be close? Will they split apart? Is that really any of our business? Is any of this any of our business? How about this? Spiritual lesson. What is the spiritual lesson that these 3 individuals could take from their father's downfall? Happy families, lessons to be learned. Again, in some ways, it's like reevaluate your relationships in your family. It's interesting. You could certainly make the argument that all 3 of them grew up probably in a very abusive family dynamic. And are they going to perpetuate that onto their kids, or are they going to rise above it? And if they can rise above it for their kids, can they rise above it for themselves? It's values. Reassess your values. Strength of character. Making good choices. Valuing your relationships. Everything that these guys are supposed to learn is about relationships and family. What is love? What is support? How do you get on with others? They've been in a relationship where their parents are both probably very narcissistic, and do they have the power to take that narcissism and move away from it? Can they see the damage that it does, and that just because you had a lot of money doesn't make you special or any better than anybody else? Because money can come and go. Do you make good decisions? Especially in your relationships, because that's part of the problem, right? If you grow up in and again, I don't mean to trigger folks here, but I know some of my viewers have had narcissistic parents, narcissistic siblings, narcissistic grandparents, narcissistic relationships that they were in, and the comment section is sometimes their therapy couch. for some of the things that they've been through. But if you've been in a relationship with a narcissistic person, you understand how difficult that relationship is. And there's nothing of satisfaction that you ever get out of it other than getting out of it. And especially for the folks that have had narcissistic parents, you have to look at yourself and did you become narcissistic yourself? How did you deal with it? How did you move away? Did you try to be exactly the opposite of their parents? Did you throw yourself into a relationship or with your kids and not be that narc? It's a hard thing to overcome, because a lot of the times people that had narcissistic parents are attracted to narcissism because it's imprinted on them. It's what they know is normal. And, they, for whatever reason, they'll be attracted to the narcissist until they learn their lesson. Me too. I passed it, and I love the fact that I'm past it, but man, what a sucky ass lesson that was to have to learn. Okay, I've gone on for 30 minutes. It's time to let you go. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for your likes and your shares and your comments and everything that you've done to help build up this channel and get it out to a wider audience. For folks just recently discovering this channel, welcome to the channel. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.